Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Jess is on maternity leave. Lauren LaRosa is filling in. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning.
And let's get in some front page news. Morgan Wood. What up, Morgan?
Good morning, y'all. So were y'all up last night trying to be on X, seeing what's going on with the former president and Elon Musk?
I was.
No. I listened to some of it this morning.
I was. I fell asleep listening to it, though. It was like 2 hours long.
Yes, so exactly, Lauren. So former President Donald Trump, he made his way back to X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, for his first time back on the platform in over a year since being banned following the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Now, Elon Musk, who now owns the platform, had a conversation with the former president. As you mentioned, Lauren, it lasted over 2 hours, but it was delayed and there was some technical difficulties. Musk described it as the issues as distributed denial of service attack on the platform. Now, during the conversation, the two talked about the attempted assassination on Trump in Pennsylvania, immigration, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and the threat of global warming. Let's hear more from President Trump and Musk's conversation.
We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way. What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
and we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it, you take a few of those events away and we have a different world.
At one point in the discussion, over 1.3 million people were listening, not the 25 to 30 million that Trump mentioned on the stream, but this does mark the first time that he's back. He talked about a lot. It was kind of a bit of a snooze fest for me, but he definitely covered a lot in regards to that. Meanwhile, on the other,
it's so interesting. I didn't think it was a snooze fest at all. Like I listened to I only listened to about 30 minutes of the conversation, and in those 30 minutes, I heard them talk about the border extensively.
Yep.
And I heard them talk about the economy extensively, and that is why Trump resonates with so many people, because he's speaking to the issues, and those are the two major issues. Folks don't care about all that other stuff as long as what they care about is being addressed. People want to know how they're gonna have more money in their pocket and how they're gonna feel safe.
Well, that's what his base cares about, right?
That's what everybody cares about. When you're having a conversation, you're talking about light bills being lower, and you're talking about
border
groceries being lower,
having
and
jobs.
Border control. That's what everybody cares about. That's not just his base.
You said he wasn't a snooze fest. You only listened for 30 minutes. They were listening for 2 hours.
No, I ain't said the whole. I fell asleep. I fell asleep. I woke up and I was like, "Whoa, it's 3:00 in the morning."
And I'll tell you one thing that woke me up, because that's why I said it wasn't a snooze fest at all.
not so much Trump, because he definitely. He talks.
Oh, he talked the whole time.
But exactly, but Musk didn't ask the question. He seemed more of a fan than somebody.
There was one thing Trump said. It was something to the effect of, it's not global warming that's going to take us out. It's nuclear warming. And then Trump started having a convo about how all these countries have nuclear weapons and the threat of nuclear war is high.
At that, Elon was so confused at that when he was doing that. But
what is there to be confused about?
Because he didn't start off the conversation talking about that. Trump took it there.
Oh yeah, they were talking about global warming.
Yeah. He wasn't confused, like he didn't understand it. It was just like that's not where. But Trump, he was controlling the conversation.
Well, what Trump said, he said global warming isn't going to take us out. Nuclear warming will. The fact that these conversations about nuclear war have been happening so frequently and so casually should scare us all.
Certainly concerning. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, Democratic Vice presidential candidate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, he's scheduled to visit Newport Beach, California today. Will O'Neill, who is the Republican mayor of Newport Beach, says Walz is welcome in his town, but there is a stark difference between Newport Beach and Minnesota. Walz is also set to travel to Denver, Colorado on Wednesday, and he is heading back to the East Coast on Thursdays. Those details are pending. And in Team USA news, gymnast Jordan Childs, she will not have her appeal heard by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. On Sunday, the International Olympic Committee said it would take away her bronze medal because of a scoring error. Yesterday, U.S. Gymnastics said in a statement that it was notified by CAS rules that they don't allow for arbitrator award to be considered. So basically, they're not going to hear her appeal. And following that decision, Childs said she's going to take a break from social media to deal with her mental health regarding that situation. So Yeah, we'll keep you posted on all of the news. That's your front page news for the 6 a.m. hour. Coming up next, we will talk about Israel, and there's a recall that's impacting the baby. So, mommies, listen up.
All right, we'll get into that next. Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Jess is on maternity leave. Lauren LaRosa is here, and let's get in some front page news. What's up, Morgan? Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. Good to be back. Yeah, so as mentioned in the previous hour, we're definitely going to talk about what's going on in Israel. The Biden administration believes Israel could be attacked by Iran and its proxies as soon as this week. That's what National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters. Let's hear from him.
It's increasingly likely that there will be an attack by Iran and or its proxies, and perhaps in the coming days. I would tell you that we share those concerns. It is difficult to ascertain at this particular time if there is an attack by Iran and or its proxies, what that could look like.
So this comes as Iran has threatened to retaliate against Israel following the recent assassinations of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. The U.S. has sent more military resources to the region and is monitoring rising tensions in the Middle East. Did you want to say something, Char?
Yeah, I was just saying, when I was listening to Trump, talk to Elon Musk yesterday, he was bringing this up. And, I'm telling you, when you listen to Trump speak to the fact, countries like Iran, think America is weak and Iran isn't scared to go into Israel because they have no fear of America. It does make you wonder if that's true,
Yeah.
And then even listening to Trump yesterday talk about how he wants to build an Iron Dome over America, like how Israel has an Iron Dome. Those conversations were never happening in America before. The fact Trump thinks we need an Iron Dome should concern us all. The fact that they're having these casual conversations about nuclear war should concern us all.
And for people that's listening that don't know what an Iron Dome is, it's not a real dome where they actually cover America. It's a protective security system that if anything flies over, the Iron Dome picks it up immediately and shoots down the weapon. So we won't have, it'd take a lot more to get a missile or something through to the atmosphere over here.
Man, I'm just trying to make it to be able to buy a house and have kids, and all this stuff is happening.
Well, that's one thing the vice president is big on. The vice president is big on rebuilding the middle class, making sure that everybody has the opportunity to own a business and own a home. But guess what? If nuclear war happens, you ain't got to worry about none of that.
No.
Okay?
You're right.
So meanwhile, let me try to ease some of that tension.
Thank you.
The U.S. is strengthening forces in the Middle East due to the escalating regional tensions. A Pentagon statement issued on Sunday says Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is reiterating the Biden administration's commitment to take every possible step to defend Israel. Meanwhile, President Biden is continuing to push for a ceasefire deal that would include the release of hostages held by Hamas. So again, we working, or hopefully you could get your house and your kids, Lauren. I'm rooting for you. Meanwhile, protests against Israel and the U.S. are expected outside the Democratic National Convention in Chicago next week. So if you're headed to Chicago, keep that in mind. Pro-Palestinian organizations say thousands of people will descend on the convention to protest the Biden administration's handling of the Israel-Hamas conflict and the rising civilian death toll. The largest of the planned demonstrations will be the March on the DNC, which is scheduled for noon, August 19th, and the evening of August 22nd at Union Park, less than a half mile from the DNC venue. So if you're Ubering that way, you're catching a ride or whatever the case is, if you're in that vicinity, expect traffic, plan ahead, those type of things if you are headed to Chicago for the DNC. The groups are calling on Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party to push for an immediate ceasefire and end the U.S. military aid that is headed to Israel.
Oh, that's not the only protest, too. There's a lot of community activists in Chicago who are planning to protest in the spirit of Dick Gregory's 1968 DNC demonstration, and they're advocating for a black agenda. They're advocating for housing injustice in Chicago, the displacement of seniors and black families, and the migrant crisis that is impacting the communities of Chicago.
Man,
and those are black people.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say shout out to Gregory. He definitely did his big one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just switching gears, in baby-related health news, you may want to double-check the formula you're giving to the baby. The FDA is ordering a recall of powdered baby formula sold at CVS pharmacies and HEB grocery stores across 12 states. Perrigo Company says it's recalled over 16,000 cans of store brand premium infant formula with iron milk-based powder because they contain too much vitamin D. Now, the FDA says they have no reports of any adverse effects because of the powder, but they say most infants won't have any problems. However, they do point out that infants with other health issues, especially kidney problems, there are complications possible. So the recall is for any products shipped after February 6th. The states impacted are Florida, California, South Carolina, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Texas, Missouri, Indiana, and Tennessee, and Virginia. Did I mention Virginia? Yeah. So anyways, wherever you at, check that baby formula before you give it to that baby.
That's right. That's why you can't square away from that liquid gold, man.
Mm-hmm.
That titty juice. Okay?
That's your front page. Listen, we're not going to get too much into that. That's your front page.
Why are we shaming titty juice?
We're not shaming it.
I'm just saying we're not going to
get too much into it.
You got to rebrand it better.
Rebranded. I don't think the babies care. I don't want that breast milk. I want the titty juice.
Liquid gold. But that's your front page news. I'm Morgan Wood. You can hit me on socials at Morgan Media. And for more news coverage, be sure you're listening to the Black Information Network at BINnews.com. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you, Morgan. Now, when we come back, Vivek Ramaswamy. Did I say that right?
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Right. He'll be joining us. Of course, he's a former presidential candidate, Trump supporter, and we're going to talk to him next. He's been up here a couple times. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.